All right, I have two more fantastic sandwich fillings for you today. If you didn't see part one of this series, I will link it up above. So you ought to go back and check that out. Today, we're gonna do something really fun. We're gonna do two that are really fun. So they're both gonna have kind of an Italian theme going on. So the first one is gonna be sausage, peppers, and onions. And the second one is gonna be meatballs in marinara sauce. So I'm really excited to have these. I just picture this big, crusty hoagie, you know, that you have kind of crusted up, browned in the oven, a little bit of butter on it maybe, and then you pour this on top, maybe throw some cheese on, maybe not. Oh, man, it sounds delicious. But you can also throw it on pasta or rice or baked potato or zoodles or spaghetti squash or, you know, whatever you have. So I'm really excited about these today. Welcome to Grow and Preserve. I'm Carter. I'm so glad you're here today. Let's get started. All right, first thing we're gonna do is kind of cook everything, but I'm doing it the easy way and throwing it all in the oven. So I have these hot Italian sausages from Costco. This is a 5-pound package. These are uncooked, uncured, relatively clean ingredients. So we're gonna put them on a sheet pan. And then I also have a whole bunch of peppers that I chopped up. This is 8 bell peppers that I sliced up, and 4 large onions that I sliced up, and some garlic. So I'm going to throw the peppers, onions, and the sausage on a couple of different pans, and we'll get those in the oven and cook it up. Okay, so the goal with this sausage is to simply be able to slice it and have it hold together. So I don't have to cook it all the way, but I do want the outside cooked. These are in casings. You know, if you want to remove the casings after it's cooked, that's okay. It will fall apart more if you don't remove the casings, but it doesn't matter. That is entirely up to you. All right, let's get these on the pan. I have my ovens, both of them, preheated to 500, just because I don't necessarily want to cook everything to death, but I do want to toast it up a little bit. These, being raw, are going to be quite fatty, so I don't want all of that fat ending up in my jar. So we'll see how much we can get out. My thought is that before we put these in the jar, that we slice them to maybe 3 slices. I'm thinking just to make it a little more user-friendly when you go to bite into it, so you don't end up with an entire hunk of sausage. This really gives you the flexibility to throw it on some pasta or something like that. I like sausage and peppers just in a bowl with pork. I'm good. Let's see if I can get the rest of these on a small pan, because I need my other large pan for the next dish we're going to do. More. So if you find already cooked sausages, fine too, you know, they say, whoever they are, they say to watch the curing and that kind of stuff with sausages. You know, I don't know, I can't ham, but do what makes you feel comfortable. But this, everybody's seems to be pretty good with raw sausage that's cooked first going in. So that's what we're doing here today. But I'm a big proponent of your kitchen, your rules. It's a lot of sausage. All right, I'm going to get this in the oven, and then we'll get the peppers and onions done. All right, let's get the onions on. It's a lot of onion slicing I did yesterday in preparation for this. Lots of crying went on in this kitchen. And then we'll put the peppers on this one. So with the peppers and the onions on, I'm going to put a little bit of avocado oil on each of these to help them roast up a bit. And then let's talk about these onions for a second. I wanted to note that I cut them north to south. So here was an end and here was maybe the root end and this was the stem end. And so I cut them this way so that they would hold together a little bit better in the canner. If you cut them the other way, it cuts the fibers kind of short and they may not hold up as well. So that's what I did. Not necessary, but all right. Okay, let's get these in the oven and then we're gonna start working on the meatballs. All right, let's get the meatballs going. And let's talk about meatballs for a minute before we get started. Traditionally, meatballs may have breadcrumbs in them, they may have some Parmesan cheese in them, whatever. Mine don't, simply because often I am grain-free, paleo, keto, etc. So I don't put any breadcrumbs in mine. I'm also dairy-free, so I don't put any dairy in mine. So mine are without those kind of by default. You know, you do you on your meatballs, right? There are people who will tell you, oh my gosh, you can't do anything with grain, you can't do anything with dairy. But to me, if they're cooked into the meatballs, they're not impeding the progress of penetrating the food to get it to temperature. So there are very experienced canners who are traditionally by the book kind of canners who will use frozen meatballs that they get from Costco or, you know, whatever, and it has dairy and it has, you know, the breadcrumbs in there. I don't see a problem with that. You know, they may get reamed out on YouTube, you know, which is, I don't know. Anyway, none of that needs to happen here. You do you on meatballs. Mine are going to be grain and dairy free because I'm traditionally grain and dairy free. But as long as you cook them, I don't think that there is an issue at all. It's not like they are thickening up the sauce or anything like that. So you do you, and we will all be nice about this. All right, let's get, I have 6 pounds of ground beef. I do need to keep an eye on this sausage though, so let's take a look. Hang on. All right, I need to keep a very close eye on the sausage and vegetables. There are traditionally a couple of approved methods of canning meatballs in terms of what kind of liquid something you put them in. First is beef broth. Well, I have tried that in the past. That is, the meatballs are squishy and yuck. Plus really, I don't know. I didn't like that. So the other way is tomato juice. Ew. You know, so I don't use tomato juice either. I'm going to use tomato sauce. I'm going to turn it into like a marinara sauce today, and that's what I'm going to use. And I am just fine with that. It's not as thin as tomato sauce, you know, or canned spaghetti sauce. I don't know. I'm using marinara sauce. Again, you do you. If you want something different, that's just fine. You can certainly use the tomato juice or even the broth. You do want something, I think, personally, with meatballs. You know how I like to dry can, you know, my ground beef or, you know, any other kind of meat. But with the meatballs, they do need to stay moist, but not waterlogged, right? So I'm going to use, I shredded out a whole onion yesterday, and I'm going to use that. I may not use the whole amount, but I'm going to use that to help keep the meatballs moist. I don't want them to turn it into little hockey pucks inside the canner. So let me check on the sausage to make sure everything's okay. All right, I got the trays rotated. Everybody turned over in there, but I do still need to keep an eye on it. So let's get going on this. Let's start with the seasonings. I'm going to add, again, you add your seasonings, that's just fine. I'm going to add about a tablespoon of salt. And then I have, if you watched part 1 of the sandwich series, I made a Italian dressing mix, dry Italian dressing mix, just from the herbs I happen to have in my cabinet. So I'm going to add a tablespoon of that. I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of that. There is some salt in this, so I want to be a little careful. Add a little bit of pepper. Maybe a teaspoon worth of pepper. Add some garlic cloves. Let's see. So I chopped this up yesterday. The whole jar has about 16 cloves in it. I'm going to use about half for the meatballs and about half for the sausage and peppers. Okay. This is my shredded onion. You can see the liquid in there. It really does help to keep it moist and adds some nice onion flavor throughout. So let's see how much we're going to need. We'll start with about half. So that was 1 full onion. I'm going to have to stick my hands in there. I'm kind of waiting for the sausage to finish. Okay, now that I have the sausage, peppers, and onions out of the oven, I can concentrate on this, which means I can stick my hands in this and we can get to work without having to worry. Ooh, cold. Sometimes I put an egg in my meatballs as well. I don't know that that's really necessary. Sometimes I put Worcestershire sauce in my meatballs. I'm really going for more Italian meatball. So we'll see. I want the rest of these onions in here. Slippery hands. Ooh, that is cold. Okay, that's good enough. All right, I have a neat little cookie scoop thing that we're going to use for these. So I'm just going to take a little glob and put it on here. They don't have to be perfect. I do want them cooked before they go in. And then while these are in the oven, we're going to work on marinara sauce, very simple marinara sauce that I'm going to use for both products here. I think I need some practice with this thing. It's not coming as naturally as you would think. So I'm going to can these in pint-sized jars because I think with all the vegetables and the marinara sauce, you need a pint size to make a meal, a serving. There we go. I'm getting a little better at this. So I'm going to let the sausage cool down just a little bit so I can cut it without all the juices running out. I'm going to need those pans back there. All right, I have all of the vegetables off there. I'm going to reuse the pans. Meatballs. I think that this is the 1.5 inch scoop. I don't know. I wanted to put as many in a jar as I could. So I went with the smallest one. I'm going to go ahead and get these 2 trays in the oven, and then I'll get the rest of these meatballs done. 4.5 sheet pans of meatballs later, I got the hang of my little skipper thing, and it is really, it's quite handy, quite sturdy. I'm loving that. So I'll have to come up with some more things that I can scoop into little meatball-like things. All right, I'm gonna make marinara, and I'm just gonna heat this up really so I can taste it for flavor. Here, tasting it cold, I'm just not sure I'd end up with the same flavor profile. Costco used to have those number 10 cans of tomato sauce, which would have been more convenient, but they didn't have it this time. So I have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got about 7 cans here. I need more. I have more. We're going to start with this. I will put all the amounts down below when I figure out exactly what I'm going to use. A lot of trash here. Okay, I have 7 15-ounce cans. I'm going to add some of this. Remember, it has salt in it as well, and garlic, and parsley, and oregano, and basil, onion powder. Oh, what the heck. We added it all. All right, I'm going to get this on the stove and heat it up. Get the meatballs in a dish so we can start getting those in the jars next, and I'll be right back. All right, I'm going to get these sausages just sliced up into some very large slices, but not so thick, so that they're easier to take a bite of your sandwich. And then we will get everything into the jars. Marinara sauce, I ended up adding, and I'll put all this below, I ended up adding a tablespoon of sugar and a tablespoon of oregano and a tablespoon of garlic powder. And I think it's just exactly the way I want it now. Again, you do your own sauce. Whatever suits you is just fine. All right, I'm gonna get this chopped up, and then we'll get a little assembly line going here. Okay, we have a lot of food here. So my marinara sauce is here. It's seasoned the way I like it. Meatballs are delicious. I've been stacking on the meatballs. And then I have the sausage. This is a lot of sausage. It's not completely cooked through, but that's fine. It's gonna completely cook through in the canner. And then I have my vegetables. I also have some more garlic. I'll probably put some of that in the sausage and peppers. So let's figure out the best way to do this. I think that, as I usually do when there's a sauce involved, I'm going to put some down at the bottom of the jars so that we can take care of any air pockets down there. Might have to make some more marinara, and that's fine. I have plenty, you know. I got a Costco sized box of tomato sauce, so I've got plenty of that. But we'll see. do think I'm going to be running canner loads into the night though. All right, so let's see how this is going to go now. I'm going to use my fingers because I think it might be too much of a mess otherwise. Get these filled up, and then I'm going to top them off with some sauce and debubble. I think I'm going to have enough peppers and onions to put some in the meatballs as well, which is great for me. I love that. You don't have to. So this is actually a really good size portion. So I cut each of the sausage links into 3 to 4 slices, and I'm fitting 4 or 5 slices in here. This would be a really good after school, before basketball practice kind of snack for a teenager. At least back when I had a teenage boy, he would have been thrilled with this. All right, let me do a couple of the meatballs, and then I'll finish getting these together off camera. Going to be quite the treat to clean up the rims. All right, that's about 7 meatballs. Let's see how the debubbling goes, because it's going to be pretty full. Right, I'm using a knife to debubble. You know, I say this every time, you're not supposed to use a metal utensil. It might break the glass, but that's what I have. Wasn't bad. Okay. It's actually a pretty jar. I don't know if you can really see it. That's not bad at all. Let's do a couple more. Make sure that's going to go smoothly. I think this is going to go pretty smoothly. Okay, so debubbling is going to go just fine with the tomato sauce. That's just beautiful. All right, I'm going to finish getting all of these ready for the canner, and we'll come back and get them in. All right, it's noisy in here. I have both canners going. I was able to get 8 pints of the sausage, peppers, and onions in the All-American, and 7 pints of the meatballs and marinara sauce in the electric pressure canner. I have another 5 pints of the sausage, peppers, and onions ready to go, and another 5 pints of the meatballs ready to go. Plus, I had a couple little meatballs and some marinara left for my dinner, and it's delicious. I'm so excited about this. So, I'm going to stick these in the fridge. I know that's controversial too. To me, that's far less controversial than letting them sit on the counter for an hour and a half while we wait for this batch to go. So, I will take these out probably half an hour before I go to put them in, let them come to room temperature, and then I'll have the water at room temperature, the canner at room temperature, and everything will come up at the same time, and it'll be just fine. Trust me on that one. All right, so I'll see you back here when everything's done. You hungry?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay. This is sausage and peppers and onions. And this is meatballs, a couple peppers and onions in there, but mostly just meatballs, marinara sauce. So these were much larger jars. So I get my own without cheese. So this jar, I did pint jars on these, and they're really, it would be a really large sandwich, or two kind of smallish sandwiches.
She's gonna have a very large husband after this.
Okay, which one are you gonna try first?
What is this one?
That one is the sausage and peppers.
Okay.
It's probably falling apart. Oh my gosh.
There's one big sandwich, babe. Can I do this?
Yeah. You can see that the sausage stayed together. It's good?
Yeah, very.
Okay. This is meatball. Okay, so that was sausage. You liked it?
I did.
Okay, let's try this one.
I like that one better,
Uh-huh.
but I like them both.
Okay.
What do you-
So you like meatball better.
I do.
All right, I'm going to see if I can try these
I know they're hard,
without
they're big.
making a total mess. This is sausage. They are very big. The sausage is good. It crumbles a little bit, but it's good. That's just what happens when you pressure can sausage. Okay, meatballs. I know I like the meatballs. I ate a lot of meatballs last night. Back 'em. Yeah. I like the meatballs better too. I'm surprised you don't like the sausage better.
Well, I do like it. I like it a lot. I like them both. And I like the other two the most. Of all of them, I think what was that second one I had?
Chipotle beef.
That was the best, then the meatballs, then the sausage,
Okay.
and then the
Italian beef.
Italian beef, just because the Italian beef needed some marinara or something.
Needed some sauce.
So a little bit dry.
Yeah.
Man, these are good though. I would eat them anytime you make them.
Well, I have plenty. I ended up making, I think, 55 servings from all 4 sandwiches I've made in the past couple days. So he'll be eating plenty of sandwiches.
Next time you see me, I'll be this big.
All right. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Okay, go to it, babe.
I know, these are so good, babe.